Your Life A to Z. I'm here with our Mom Squad, and we are tackling a pretty tough subject today. This is going to get a little touchy. We won't mention any names, but we are talking about different parenting styles. I'm sure we've all been in a situation where we've been with either friends, family, and what they're disciplining their kid is not the way you discipline, or maybe they're more permissive. I mean, it's a tough one. Have you been in these situations?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Certain people come to mind. And it's hard. There's times where I sometimes feel like I'm the authoritative parent, but then there's times I feel like I'm the permissive. It depends on who I'm with.
Right.
And it's a tough one. So you all kind of have your own tips on how you deal with it.
As best we can.
Have you ever gotten into a fight or lost a friend over this?
I actually stopped seeing a friend just because it was so crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
Such a difference that I hated it when our kids came over. So.
Oh, well, we're going to tackle this in a minute. Yeah, see, that's the problem the kids play. So we'll get into this in just a little bit, but it's going to be an interesting thing to see what you guys say about this. Also, Gail Bass, she's not handling it tough. Now back to our Mom Squad. We are talking about that tough subject of permissive parents versus very authoritative parents, and how do you deal with if it's your sister or your friend, or you have the kids come over and they're crazy and wild at your house. Is there a good set of do's and don'ts when it comes to this? The big question is, do you tell the other parent, I think your son was over and he talks back and he does this, or do you just go, I mean, it's especially if you're friends with that parent.
Right.
It's different if it's just a child from school and maybe you and the parents don't really know each other. That's different. But when it's your friend or your sister-in-law, do you speak up?
Well, we've tried to implement something of a way for our kids to classify their friends. And I need to give the credit to my best friend Jackie, who came up with this, but it's you have green light friends, yellow light friends, and red light friends.
Okay, wait, save that. We'll get into that.
Okay.
So your kids have that. Red light, yellow light, green light
friends.
Interesting. And I think when they get to a certain age, it's easier for them to make those friends. But that's a good lesson to teach them when they're young. We'll get to that in a minute. We don't want to give it all away. And we're also going to talk with Austin, your son, who's 12, about another tough subject, and that is drugs. And summertime usage apparently is the start of drugs for a lot of kids because they're bored. So it's a big time of the year where this kind of stuff can creep into your lives. So very important. It's a dilemma that often does not have a happy ending. How do you handle it when you are a very authoritative mom, but your friend or your sister is a real permissive mom? And our Mom Squad is here to tackle this one. We've been discussing, we all know, we've all been there. We know what we're talking about, but how do you deal with it? So Lisa, you've got something called like a red light, green light, yellow light. This is Vandenberg.
Right.
Fields, Bradley. We'll start with Lisa.
I do give the credit to my best friend Jackie. She told me about this about 7 years ago, and it's a way for our children to classify their friends. So, if they have a friend that's coming over and, jumping on the couch and doing all those things that we don't allow in our house, it's a way for us to afterwards talk about, okay, well, this is maybe a yellow light friend. You have to use caution with this friend. He's someone that might be making poor choices or different things like that. So an afternoon play date at our house might be okay for a yellow light friend, but a sleepover or going to the movies, this child isn't making good choices. A green light friend, you always get a yes. Green light friends make good decisions, you can trust them, they're fun to be around. Red light friends, only things maybe at our house for really short periods of time. And kids can change colors. They can move up or down the scale.
That's interesting. Because I've had to say to my son, well, he makes bad decisions, he's a little naughty, and I don't like labeling.
Yeah, you don't have to be the bad guy.
And then they go tell that kid's mom. My mom says your son's naughty. It's like, oh, So you have to explain that to them.
Right, so having that conversation and saying, well, what do you think about the choices he made, or how he makes you feel, or every time you're with this child, you're getting in trouble, and so that helps them classify it and maybe giving them skills, for later in life, choosing their friends wisely in different ways. So it has really worked. It's saved a lot of arguments in our...
Very nice. So you let them play with the red light kids, but at very small amounts of time and monitored.
Right.
So you're not saying, no, you can't hang out with them, which is kind of the worst thing to say, right?
Right, because then they want to.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's interesting. And then as they get to be teenagers, like, oh, you're not going out that red light friend.
Exactly. Unless they changed. Unless they've moved up.
Those are good tips. What about you,